Tough day at work today, Stephen Kirk, think I suck. Throw back a few wobbly pops, feeling down on my luck. And the interns ruin every show. But it's still where we want to go. It's Mike and the Minifans. 'Cause nobody had any better plans. You want to be with DC and RA Minahan. The host can't see, it's Mike and the Minifans.
Hey, how are ya? Welcome to Mike and the Minifans, the longest hour in recorded broadcast history. I am joined by an all-star panel. People are saying one of the best panels ever assembled. I'll start with Mr. Danny from Bullricka, my good friend. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well, BA. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Hey, how are you?
Hey,
We're also joined by the first time appearance on Mike and the Minifans, the Snellinator, the mailbox assassin. I don't know if that's the right terms, but Snell, how are you?
Good. Thank you for having me to be with some of these biggest titans in the Miniverse. It is an honor. Thank you, BA.
Thank you. And we're also joined by Mr. Patrick Ford. I didn't call him Dr. Ford because he is my target today. Ford, how are you?
Good. How are you? Hi, everyone.
I'm doing well. Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Joe, the axe in the
Thank you, Joe.
background.
Thank you, Joe.
The CEO is not here today. He is calling. I think he's working, calling some cricket. So we won't have him today, but we have a lot to discuss. It was a very interesting week, to say the least, in the KMS world. You know, we had the free throw competition. It was a very Barstool week, but I think the overlining theme of the week was cranky Kirk. It was cranky Kirk Minahan. You know, he started off the week on mostly sports, going after Titus, where he was kind of wrong in that, where he thought Titus was saying something about broadcasting times where he was wrong. Kirk then goes after Brandon Walker during the free throw competition when Brandon was trying to give him a compliment. Kirk's going after Coleman about audio and old tweets. Kirk's going after the Minifans and is bringing the show down to 3 days a week. He lost on the dozen. He's lost on the dozen to Gia. Ticket sales may not be the best in Portland. So cranky Kirk, I think it was a cranky Kirk week. What do you guys think about cranky Kirk this week? Is he to blame? Does he have to look inward? And maybe he was a little cranky this week, and that's what happened. Because the out of office shows are always below average, and I think everyone can agree this is kind of like a below average week of shows. So what do you think, Snell?
Well, when you say it's a below average week for shows, you're talking about just on the Kirk Minahan show, correct?
Yeah, for sure. Below average Kirk Minahan shows, right?
Right, but how many weeks out of the year do we do this? Something like this? Is it 4? Is it that many? Or is it probably not even that many? It's probably like 2, 3, 4 weeks out of the year that something like this happens, where we don't get as many kind of traditional Kirk Minahan show episodes. And I'm actually okay with it, honestly. When he goes to Barstool, I like the fact that he gets to interact with those other people. And as corny as this is going to sound, and I know this is a world that we're supposed to be full of hate, I think it's really cool that we get to see him having a traditional good time with some of his coworkers and not having to be that asshole, 24/7 like he was with Titus. I don't know. I don't mind it. I like having these kind of change up weeks.
So I think the out of Freddie Lynn said, and I said this on Twitter, the out of office shows are always going to be below average or a little bit, because he's not in the right environment. I think the content was driven, like you said, Snell, with the outside stuff, the free throw competition, him on mostly sports, him on the yak. But if we talk about the KMS in general, I think, Snell, you brought it up as well. You were trying to do a recap show. You wouldn't have a lot to talk about because the actual KMS show in particular there wasn't a lot. But Ford, what did you think this week? Kirk, I think cranky Kirk. He didn't get enough sleep, so when people don't get enough sleep, maybe that comes up. But what do you think, Ford?
Yeah, I think if I stayed up for whatever it was, 36, 41 hours in a row too, I'd be a little cranky. But I think the boiling point was Brandon Walker just saying one thing and snapping at him and telling him he's going to kill him. Then coming back to it and saying he overreacted a little bit later. I agree. I think the remote shows are just more difficult. And like you said, only like 4 a year, but there's a lot more travel lined up with remote shows, throughout that, the tour that they're talking about going on. So we'll see more of it. I personally am the wrong guy to ever want to criticize anything because I like the Barstool component. Like, I'm not a massive stoolie, but I like the interaction with the Barstool people. Sounds 10% better than Coleman. I like the interaction with the Barstool people, and like, you kind of know, it's not that you know what you're going to get with the shows because they can go any direction at any time. But if they do a stream for however long it is, 36 hours shooting free throws, they're going to talk about it for a while, and that's kind of to be expected.
Yeah, actually, McFustaddy said Pat's neck is spilling out of that hoodie.
I always shrink down because I have double chins pretty hard. So if I just kind of pull the hoodie up a little bit, it goes unnoticed. But thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate it.
Danny,
you can always grow a beard there, Pat.
No, I can't. I literally can't. I've tried. I bought the stuff that you put up.
One on.
I've tried that too. I've tried a lot of things.
Beanbag Ron did say a mouthful of cock and marbles for Mr. Patrick Ford. Danny, what do you think? I think like Kirk's going after the Minifans saying we're complaining. He's bringing it down to 3 days a week. But is this like, should Kirk look inward? Like, he's complaining to Coleman about YouTube audio when in the past he's like, I don't care about the YouTube audio. And now it was like this big thing where he's making the show a little bit. Danny, what do you think about that?
Well, to the YouTube thing, you're right, BA. BA was right. As far as him talking about the YouTube, I do think he's evolved and changed. For a while, he didn't care about the YouTube. He now does, because it's part of the world. It's become, I think he enjoys getting that real-time interaction because the fans are reacting to the show on Twitter. They're calling in, or they were calling in. I do think the other part of it, though, that was a little disingenuous is when he tells Coleman, this has literally never happened before. That's not true. I mean, there's a whole episode of the internet going down, the stream going down, and then they spend, 10 minutes on the phone with the Comcast guy. So it had happened before, but I think the frustration, it was just, had obviously reached a little bit of a tipping point between fatigue. It had been a long week. I think the crankiness came out when there seemed to certainly be something specific to Coleman. Because whenever it came up, Coleman's tweets, which I know we'll get to, or something that, the sound's fucked up, that's Coleman. And he kept throwing both of them together. Like Justin was in that bunch, but Coleman was certainly the target there. I will say, though, real quick on to the earlier point, I think Snell's onto something in that, I think a change of pace was good, because I do think the shows last week, especially with the drama going on and whatnot, I almost think he needed to remove himself from the sort of swirling Minifan world for a little bit and go to another location to be with the Barstool guys and do some different things. So overall, I think the timing of that was good. I think he was ready to get out of that studio in Watertown and sort of have a different environment around him. So I think overall the timing of this was good. But yeah, I think not getting a lot of sleep or much sleep or no sleep right in the middle of the week is going to mess somebody up, especially, as Kirk said, he's not used to that. So
he did kind of get shit on throughout the week too. Like Portnoy shit on him, saying his Miss Peaches video does way 100 times the views of the Kirk Minahan show. So
it's true.
And he's losing on the dozen. Gia's calling him a sore loser. But who is to blame, do you think, this week? Is it Jeff, D Lowe? Is it the producers? Is it Kirk, or is it the environment? What do you think, Snell?
I mean, some of it has to be with the producers. I think there is something to be said when you hear people say that this hasn't been as much of an issue in the past as it is right now. I think Coleman's defense of there's multiple streams going on is true. But I think part of the problems with the producers right now is that, and we'll kind of touch on this later, I'm assuming, when we talk about kind of its relationship to the network, but they are so focused on trying to please Kirk first and not put good content first. And I think that's the biggest difference in the past. Everything that they touch is with the idea to please Kirk. And when it doesn't go their way, you see how rattled they get. You see how Justin just gets rattled now like he hasn't ever in the past. And I don't know. I mean, I think Kirk wants you to take, as much as he says this is his baby and that this is his show and that he doesn't want anyone to try and take control of his show. I think the reason it worked with Steve so well is because Steve kind of treated it like his baby too. And I think that's what he wants, even though he says he doesn't. And he's not getting it out of those two right now.
Okay, great point, Snell. The Snell got the setup just for today, and he's making great points. Sounds great. Snell, great guy. The Pat Ford. Who's to blame? Is it Jeff D Lowe, your friend Jeff D Lowe, who you guys text privately and all that stuff? Is Jeff D Lowe to blame? Is it the producers at Kirk? Is it the environment? What caused this subpar week of shows?
I don't think it's Jeff, because I don't think he control. I think a lot of the control goes back to them in Watertown. I could be wrong on that, but I mean, I like both of them, but I probably put more blame on the producers than anybody else. The environment has something to do with it. You're out of your element. I don't really watch a bunch of other Barstool shows. I watch the Yak a little bit sometimes, but like, all these shows are both streaming on YouTube and on Rumble and on Twitter, and I feel like you don't see them having as many issues from an audio side as these guys have. So I would put most of it on them, but with a grain of salt.
Danny, as a man who just lost his partner, and not the partner that didn't let him go to his friend's wedding, his fat partner for Quantum Week. Who's to blame? Kirk, the producers, Jeff D Lowe, or the environment?
That's right. I lost my bigger half last week. It's sad. Yeah. I think that there's definitely something to that about the producers, but how much of that's really their fault and how much of it is just needing somewhere to go with that? Because I think and you see the comments come through that Kirk is relying more on the producers. I think unless he shows up to the show and says, hey guys, we're going to talk about this today, or he's got something on top of mind, so for example, the free throw day, I didn't watch that live. I had other stuff at the moment going on. I watched a little bit of it, didn't really know the full aspect of it. And I know there was some complaints. Oh, it's so boring talking about free throws for hours. Once he dug into it, and even I thought Stephen Shea was actually a really good guest, and I kind of like how they mended fences a little bit. Once they started talking about the strategy of it, and Pat Bev showing up, and the whole thing with Mantis and being all deformed and hitting free throws. Like, there were a lot of aspects to that. And once Kirk was in a good mood, just chatting about that, because it was something that interested him. There was a lot that went into it. It was something that he experienced. Like, he likes being a part of these things. Like he said, he puts his all into it, whether it's the dozen, surviving Barstool, mini golf. He just wants to be there, big part of the action. And he's really good at a lot of stuff. So he's able to carry these streams and these shows and get these interactions going. So as long as he has something like that to focus on, and you guys brought up BA the other night on Rewind, I thought it was a good point. You're talking about when Steve Robinson, not only did he come to the table with topics, but he had a lot of audio clips ready to go, and he would almost lead with the audio clip. So instead of being like, hey, Kirk, did you see this thing about, fucking Aretha Franklin's, daughter, got a blowjob from a hooker, whatever. I don't know. And then Kirk's like, no, I don't give a shit. And then they don't know what to do. Like, sometimes they'll jump on with something else and sometimes they won't, and they get stalled in their tracks. Whereas Steve would try to ram it in there, for better or for worse, right? Well, are you sure, Kirk? You try to get this political thing going. Then he'd play some sound and Kirk would be like, oh, wait, what's that? Like, it would almost like he'd get more of a hook in there. So
do you think, and we'll get to Coleman about the honeymoon stage being over, but do you think Steve, because the show wasn't a live show, it was a podcast only, do you think Steve had all these clips already, or he was just pulling them and saying, oh, Kirk, you wait a second, let me pull them, so it maybe looked like he had more than he did, kind of thing, or do you think he was that prepared?
I think he was extremely prepared. And the other point you guys brought up about that was the crowdsourcing. Like, he used the Minifans to his advantage. And that's something I think occasionally these guys, and I think Cullinane was maybe the same way, and I don't know for sure, but I think they get tips from Minifans and they kind of run with stuff. But as far as, saying, hey guys, can you actually cut up some audio and send me this? Or, hey, can you listen to this whole interview and let me know if there's something interesting? I get the sense those guys don't really do that. And there's plenty of guys that would do that if they asked.
I totally agree. I think Steve utilized the Minifans, and he had a million clips where these guys have a fraction of the clips. Before it seems like the producers are is to blame. It's not the crankiness of Kirk. The panel is pretty set on the producer to blame. I did get a private DM from someone saying if Rico Bosco tweeted out healthy debate will be only on Mondays and Fridays going forward due to his fans complaining, Kirk would destroy him. So do you think Kirk he's kind of doing the same thing? Do you think if Rico was doing this, would Kirk destroy him? What do you guys think about that? Dr. Ford.
Yeah, he probably would, but I think Rico doesn't have that relationship kind of with, I guess not necessarily with the audience, but there was always been the conversation that the Minifans are the fourth chair. But I think it's a totally different scenario. I think you're right. I think he would shit on him, but Rico's shown kind of a history of always being very flaky and that kind of stuff. Kirk's still giving us 3 days of content. I think it's a little bit different, but I get that point.
Well, because Minifans and riders, Rico is in private chats with riders. I think it's a little bit more similar than other fan bases there. What do you think, Snell? Would Kirk be destroying Rico if the shoe was on the other foot?
Who the hell knows? I mean, honestly, I want to say yes, that he most likely would, but it's kind of impossible to really know what the hell's Kirk's thinking.
Well, that's why it's hypothetical.
Yeah, maybe he would, but I don't know. To me, it's kind of almost pointless because we don't really know what Kirk would do. Honestly, I have no idea what the hell Kirk would do in that situation.
Okay, Danny, what do you think?
Well, I think Dr. Ford brings up a good point that as far as Rico's relationship with his fans versus Kirk's, it's a very different circumstance. I understand the premise, and there probably is a case where Kirk would shit on somebody like, oh, you gave in to the fans, but at the same time, that relationship is there, and perception's reality. I don't even know if there was one, and BA, you've probably seen this, if there was one or two tweets, or if it was a multitude of tweets that kind of put him over the top on this. I hadn't seen a lot, but maybe there were some things today that I just didn't catch. So I don't know if this was building, or if it was just all of a sudden something that just popped out at him and he said, "Fuck."
There was a bunch of tweets. We'll get into them a little bit later, but there was a bunch of tweets. Murchison's Mouse says Steve worked all the time, plus he lived a full interesting life. Murchison's Mouse, interesting life. Yes,
I think there's a point to that too, where when Kirk does scale it back from 4 days to 3 days, in the back of his head, there is a part of him that knows that we're going to melt down. Either regardless of whatever side you're on, we're going to be affected by it.
Well, talking about a meltdown, Patrick Ford, after Kirk said this, said, Is there anything we can do to reverse this decision? And then he quote tweeted Kirk saying, "This is my nightmare. The silent majority needs to stand up and voice our support."
Correct.
I
stand by it.
That's what Patrick Ford said. biggest Kemp out there. I honestly think you tweeting that to Kirk makes Kirk more mad than
I thought about that after the fact. I thought about.
Did he respond? I saw Pat's.
I'm sure he has me muted. But yeah, no, it's I
replying and doing a reply and a quote tweet, be like, guys, we need to send Kirk some positivity.
Send us a bad signal.
The thing is with the criticism, it's clear this week was below average. I still think in the grand scheme of things, a below average Kirk Minihane show is a lot better than a lot of shows out there, right? So if you're grading it on that scale, okay, we are used to greatness. This was a burner tweeted at me. This was an 8 out of 10, not a 10 out of 10 episode, right? So, but let's get to Coleman. Coleman, the honeymoon stage is clearly over. Since the tweets came out with Kelly Keegs and the simping for Bailey Carlin, then he's on the show saying, "Oh, I have some great ideas for Portland." And Kirk's like, "What are you talking about? I do the ideas." And I think Coleman's after now the meat shield of Andrew Augustus is gone. It's really exposing Coleman to Kirk, full-blown Kirk, and it's crazy. So many people do reach out to me that Coleman sucks. He's bad. They say he's bad on the mic. His topics are terrible. I like Coleman, and I like that he brings up the network a lot, but I feel like now the network is becoming a crutch to Coleman, where it's like all he brings up, and like I love that stuff. It's my favorite part of the show when Kirk talks about the Minifans of the network. But there's probably so many people like I don't give a fuck about this, right? So you need to have a little bit of a mix, but. Coleman, the honeymoon stage is over, and what do you guys think about this? We'll start with Danny. What do you think?
Well, I think Coleman, especially when it comes to bringing up the topics, he's lost a little confidence, and not to belabor this whole point about the producers bringing up the points, but I do feel like he does get stopped in his tracks when he gets shot down. Whereas when Gus was there and Gus was taking the heat and he was sort of the heat sink, Coleman would quickly rebound with another topic if his topic fell flat. The thing with the whole thing, with the Kelly Key suites and whatnot, I mean, Portnoy kind of told him what he could have said, to sort of get out of this. He gave him the keys to the car, but he kind of kept going back to the well about, oh, I'm young. And Kirk said, don't say you're young again. And then he switches it around and said, well, you guys have lived a lot longer than me. It's like, all right, you're saying the same fucking thing. Get the fuck out of here. I think he could have, he at least was honest about, hey, I really wanted to get on Barstool. So I was, basically blowing these people. But it'd be very fair of him to say, you know what, look, my opinions have changed. And, I've evolved and now I've moved on and this is a different place. He was in a tough spot this week, though, either way.
Patrick Crowley brings a good point. Kirk's always says when producer leaves, fans always miss something about them in a couple months. What is there to miss about Coleman? Well, I would say Coleman does bring a level of professionalism to the outside the show. I think he's been a little bit integral with getting Barstool to tweet out, promote Kirk a little bit more, because you're seeing Kirk on the Viva La Stool account, the Barstool main show. I don't think that happens without Coleman. I also think like his vlogs, his clips, that kind of stuff. He has that social media background, but him on the show, I think he needs to take a backseat to Justin a little bit, and because the topics aren't there right now, and unless he's talking about Minifan topics. What do you think, Ford?
I think you guys brought it up actually on the KMS Rewind, and I was listening to it before this, and it kind of struck home. Like, I know he's listening back to the kind of the Steve era, but you're 100% right when you say like a lot of the topics now, you could have like a laundry list of topics, but if you just throw them out there, like, yeah, what do you think about this? And then Kirk has to kind of run with it. Like Steve would exactly what you said, play a clip, set it up, engage, kind of go back and forth. I kind of, getting topics are one thing, but kind of creating a story around them and building the conversation is another. And Dave never really did that. Dave kind of just same thing, be like, hey, did you see this on People Magazine or whatever it was? But Dave was just such a puppy dog that, like, regardless of whatever the topic was, you could reverse it and shit out him, and it would be content from that.
Unless he had a personal investment in it, so like the signed guitar or something, or his mom's Twitter account, things like that, because then he would get invested, and then you'd have that back and forth, and that's when it was fun with Cullinane.
Yeah.
Snell, what do you think? What do you think about what do you think about this? As a guy that wanted to, you did throw your hat in the ring as a producer. You never got the shot. What do you think?
How many people threw their hat in the ring and didn't get a chance? I think I'm the only one, right?
I don't know.
I think I'm the only one. Not that. Who else?
The kid from 98.5.
Bill McNeil.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Not that it matters anyway.
Were you offered a chance to go in, Snell, and you couldn't go, or no?
Nope, never was offered a chance to go in. But I don't know. When you look at, like, I think
you might
part
get
of
your
the
shot
reason,
soon.
Yeah, right. I wish, but I honestly don't even know how to. I wouldn't even know how to do that. I wouldn't know how to do any of that. Like, for example, the problem we have with the internet, like, I could get that sorted out. That's something I could definitely get sorted out. That's more of a Julie thing, not to use my air quotes here, but that's more of a Julie thing than it is I think a Coleman thing or a Justin thing. That's something that she would need to take care of to get the internet fixed. I don't think he's capable. I think the reason like Steve Robinson and those guys had an easier time of it too was, someone mentioned this earlier, I forget who it was, but so much more Minifan content coming in. You had parody songs coming in all the time. You had, all those, what was it, 50 state prank call challenge and all stuff like that. Eventually that stuff gets tired, it gets rote, it gets old, and you just kind of have to move on. And I think that's where some of the hate for the network comes from Kirk right now, is because Coleman and Justin are just taking the easy way out. And whatever the four of us idiots say for a video that gets 700 views is now being played for, Justin's second best topic of the day, and a
almost
podcast that
almost
does
2,000.
100,000 listens.
Almost 2,000. Snell, like don't disparage the great brand of media
Sorry.
or Michael
Sorry.
Minifans.
So
I'm just
sorry.
kidding. I'm just kidding. But it's true. I totally agree. The network is kind of it's kind of following the path of the previous network, where there was the beginning stage where it was starting out as this fresh new thing. It didn't really get talked about. Then it became like the whole show was talking about the network, and then Kirk was like, "Fuck the network. No one cares about this except for these 1,000 people," right? But what I always say is, he said it earlier this week, 72,000 versus 1,000. But these 1,000 people watching the network are the ones that are in a business. These are the you get 80% of your revenue from 20% of the people.
Right.
These 1,000 people are buying the multiple pay-per-views. They're going to the live shows. So there is, I think there is a reason, there is a benefit to all this, but it can't be the forefront of the producers' topics week after week after week after week or day after day.
I agree with you.
Also,
The lack of callers been hurting
Sorry.
too.
Sorry.
The lack of callers. I
Yeah.
mean, that you just don't have that. And Kirk finally addressed it the other day. But are we going to see the callers back next week?
Who knows? I touched on this earlier, but I think the big thing that Kirk wants out of his people is he wants people to own it like it's theirs. And I think that's why Steve worked, and I think that's why Dave worked for a while, is because they treated it like it was theirs. And we just don't see that out of them right now. We see two guys that show up, that get paid to show up. They're not prepared to fill an hour. Look how much Kirk had to dance this week to fill that 3-hour show. All the shit he had to pull out of his ass with his busted ass old man hip. I mean, he had to dance like nobody's business. And I think he's fucking sick of it, honestly.
What do you think, Deformed Mincy? Do you think Deformed Mincy should ask Mancock for a loan to get the audio issues fixed on YouTube?
That was a good one. Yeah,
you
you should reach out to him. He should reach out.
Mancock,
Does anyone talk to that guy?
No, the guy's fucking.
He's just gone.
The guy's loaded. I think he's
Took
in
the money and
Barbados.
ran.
He's in Barbados on an island somewhere.
He threw it all in red and took off.
But on a serious point to that, I had 2 anonymous Minifans reach out to me this week saying they've offered the producers help to fix the internet, and their offers went unanswered. I mean, Kirk blowing up. So the specific blow up of Kirk saying, Coleman, what the fuck, the thing doesn't work. If that's pure technology, then of course that's not his fault. Kirk always says that, right? Hey, if you didn't hit record and it turns out we didn't get the recording, no big deal. Or if it's a tech thing, it's beyond your control. I'm not going to get mad about it. That's exactly what he get pissed at Coleman about. But just like Blind Mike likes to say, if you get an argument over the dishes with your wife, it's not really about the dishes. It was everything leading up to that then that set him off when that happened. And then Coleman's sort of nonchalant response, hey, we're going to get it fixed, which, I think might have been appreciated a few weeks ago. It was wrong place, wrong time. And that was the tipping point last week.
Troll King Sneaks, King of the Minifans said, is the poor Portland ticket sales a reflection of the state of the show right now? And we did bring it up before, but do you think that has a factor to play with the producers and Kirk? Ford.
No, I don't think so. I think it being surrounded by Easter is difficult. I mean, it was even tough for me to kind of wiggle my way up there to get up there. And I know a lot of people who aren't kind of as into us as the 1,000 people you're talking about that are so invested in the network, kind of like your more casual fan that want to go to the show. It kind of kills it for that weekend for them. So I don't think it's a reflection on it. I think it's just kind of a tough spot.
Danny, what do you think about? What do you think?
I mean, I don't think so. I think Kirk knows that they're going to end up. The people are going to show up. The people will come.
He also has made jokes about it. He's like, "Oh, the whole back orchestra is available, Julie, if you want."
Yeah, I don't think he's too worried about. I mean, I know he always says it's his biggest fear. Nobody's going to show. You're going to get there. It's going to be nobody there. That's obviously never going to happen, right?
Oh, they'll be.
Yeah,
but I do think there is
now out of the big picture of all the millions of things rattling around in his head and things that may bother him more at one point than another. Then I'm sure that's in the mix, but it's probably a very low value.
I mean, basically the whole first floor, I'm looking at it right now. Basically the whole first floor is pretty much sold out except for the top floor. I don't know. I mean, so how many seats is that? How many seats is that? Anybody know?
Probably a decent amount, but it's It's like that's where I say cranky Kirk. Like I think this was a cranky Kirk week. But so Coleman, honeymoon stage over. I think everyone's on agreement that with Coleman. But any other thoughts on cranky Kirk or Coleman?
I think one thing that I just saw a comment that said it too. Like I missed the Sebastian caller. Dave used to bring that in. Like one thing I've said to Coleman in the past too is like I'm just surprised that there are times where it's difficult to find a third chair. Like when Dave was a producer, he had different knuckleheads every single week, kind of like blowing up his. He said he had so many people lined up. Maybe he was bullshitting. That's definitely a possibility with Dave, but I just don't know if Coleman or the producers. It was Coleman and Gus back then, but I don't know if they're utilizing the. I think it goes back to the whole utilizing the fans thing that we talked about that Steve was doing.
Yeah. Snell.
I mean, how many of those people, like kind of like just like people available for the show or prank calls or anything like that, priority songs, how many people are available? That's kind of what I would say is I don't know. I mean, how many people are really, I know I was reached out. Coleman reached out to me and he asked me to come on and it didn't really work out. And I think part of it is because he kind of sucks at scheduling. I think that's a big part of it. I know from listening to the show, other people have been scheduled out weeks in advance, and he kind of said it wasn't possible with me. So I don't know. Does he really just suck that much at his job? I have no fucking idea. I don't know.
Yeah, and I know we talked about this earlier. It's who was to blame. It was a Jeff, producers, Kirk, or the environment. Many of you guys say it was the producers. Troll King Sneaks says it's not the producer's job to make the show good. It's Kirk's job. So I think that's where you get like there is a lot of people being like, Kirk, this is on you. And then there's the other people saying, oh, it's everyone else, not Kirk, right? So Danny, what do you think about that?
Well, I think there's certainly merit to that. And I think one area that I'm sometimes surprised how little Kirk demands of the third chairs. Like the fact is, like, he will go to them and say, oh, you might have some notes or somebody may have something. And I think everybody shows up with something, but it almost should be a prerequisite. If you're going to go sit in that studio, you've got 5 to 10 to 20 things to talk about so that, you go to the producers for stuff and they've got sound ready to go. And if things are really flowing well, then that third chair maybe send some sound over to the producers the next day. Hey, I got a couple things queued up, Kirk. You don't see that a lot, and myself included. I'm not saying I've done it. But that there could be a little bit more proactivity from the people in that other chair. But to the point about maybe not having the ability to get people in, and I think scheduling is a lot of an issue. I know I had that issue last week. Is that one of the reasons for going down to 3 shows so we can maybe call out make sure we get a stronger, rotation of guests and try to plan better for getting people in studio as needed.
And I also think another thing too, when the content, if you like the content of some of the older shows better, is the time, kind of all the shit that was going on. You had the election cycle that we were going through. We had Steve kind of being heavily into it. And I bet you over the next 8 months, if they kind of lean into that, I bet you're going to see a lot of that type of shit again on the show. You're going to see a lot of that craziness. So I think what's going on in the world has a big part to play with it as well.
There's not as many enemies around anymore either. There's not many kind of easy targets. Like K. Marco was an easy target. Ellie Smith was an easy target. Right now, Barstool, I mean, like I said, I like Barstool, but it's kind of like, just look at the New York office. It's really just a bunch of zeros. So what's the point of even kind of going after him?
And then you got like his enemy, Cullen. I mean, that guy can literally assist in someone's suicide and nothing happens to the guy. So, I mean, that guy's always going to be there.
Well, and you're right, Pat, because the as far as the level of enemies, you had people. Kirk brought this up with the Che thing. Che was almost surprised, like, "Hey, you're being this nice to me," and Kirk's like, "Yeah, you backstab me in a game, and I'm going to get over that eventually." Versus people that actually actively tried to get me fucking fired, and tried to ruin my life. In the case of like a Shirley Leung, like a very different level, or Bob Merchant's a very different level of enemy. And the fact is, it's a testament to Kirk that he's conquered these people for the most part, and they're gone or quiet or dead or who knows what. So now it's just these little whack-a-moles that pop up, and he knocks them down, and they pop up, and it's that's about it.
The CEO did reach out to me and say, BA, just for the record, I did not complain about the shows. I just said the super inside Barstool stuff isn't for me. 3 shows a week might be better to give them the time to get ready for Portland, and also Him and Mayo recently discussed that 3 shows a week might be best for the show. So that's from the CEO. That's from the CEO.
So what caused Kirk to threaten to shut down the network? Because he brushed it off and moved on pretty quickly. Was it something the Menor said, or was it something else?
Well, I think I think I said this before, but I think it's like Coleman or whatever that one show. His first talk, like all the topics were about the network and all that stuff. So I think then it's like I just want to shut this down, because if this network is going to make the producers just talk about the network, then what's the value to it there, right? So that's what I think. What do you guys think, Snell or Ford?
I think he was giving us something to fucking talk about tonight. That's how I think Kirk Minahan works. I think he was just being.
He's thinking of Mike and the Minifans.
He was. Yeah.
Do you think Kirk? Yeah, Kirk probably today. I got you. So Kirk today was like, it's kind of a shitty week. We need a BA needs some topics. So
I'm gonna throw BA the alley-oop and let him finish it.
He's in the chat right now.
Yeah,
thank you, Kirk.
He's in the chat.
Smells a funny guy.
I think he watched KMS Rewind and said, "Shut it all the fuck down."
We'll get into that. That's my Ford. What do you think?
I think it's true, but I don't think it's a bad thing to always. I like when sometimes they lead with network stuff, but I think sometimes it gets too wrapped around the network. Like there's a lot of stuff on the network sometimes that it is fun to kind of open up with, especially on a slow day. But I think you are right; it's time to branch out a little bit more outside of that.
I get like all of us like the network stuff because we're like invested in it, but the other people are like, but it's also too where there's a lot of people that hate the Barstool stuff. Like there's a lot of people that are like, I'm sick of him talking to Barstool people. So like it's hard to you're never gonna please everyone too. Like, see, I love the Barstool stuff. I like the network stuff. So when it's Barstool network centric shows, I'm like, oh fuck, I love this, right? But yeah.
And I get that, especially for people like that are getting up there that maybe are used to the Milton days of Barstool, that just people like Gia and Rhea just don't do it for them anymore. However, how can anybody hate the Unnamed show? I mean, that's the combination we've been asking for. So if you don't like those guys getting in the dirt together, then I feel like you're missing the point.
And we'll talk about that. So we'll go into like the Barstool stuff, but the Unnamed show, like especially the people that are like, no one gives Kirk shit. Like Kirk got shit on by Portnoy on the Unnamed show. So you have other people that are going to shit on Kirk. That's what I love. The Unnamed show will always have good moments. You got DeFore, Mincy. You had them, Kirk. You had this though, where another tweet where talking about the Unnamed show, House of Pain said, "Why is Kirk putting it on Portnoy for firing Coleman? Kirk's in charge of Kirk. He picked this guy. Kirk's a horrible boss." But like that came up on the Unnamed show. Like Kirk's like, fire this guy, Dave, fire this guy. And I know it's a show, but it's like, but I like that because then David, that when you're kind of like laughing, like, what the fuck,
I don't think he actually wanted him to fire him. I get what he's saying, but I think that was more exactly what you said. Those two got riled up from that too, and that kind of started everything. So that's where I see that point.
Yeah, no, the Unnamed show. I thought the Barstool stuff kind of drove the week. Like, you got to think Kirk, like he was cranky, but he did have athletic achievements this week. On the Yak Challenge, he was number 11 or 12 out of 50 contestants, just under Gia. Gia beat him by about 5 seconds. So Gia's
she blocked you. You don't have to keep trying.
I'm just saying Gia beat Kirk by about 5 seconds, but a good performance on the Yak Challenge. A resounding MVP on the free throw challenge. But also, I think what made Kirk mad is when he got his DraftKings jersey. It was like it was made with like duct tape, where Stephen Che and fucking like an intern has like a jersey, and Kirk Minahan gets a duct tape jersey. So maybe he felt slighted.
No number,
and all that stuff. But what did you think about the outside KMS stuff? The Yak Challenge, the free throw. He was on Mostly Sports as well. Danny, sorry.
No, I think there's a dose of that stuff is good. I think if he can get in, mix it up with those personalities. It gives him something else to talk about. I think he enjoys it too. And if this is going to help sustain his his stay in the Kirk Minifan show. He keeps talking about how he's going to renew after that, which is a very different tune than about 2 years ago. He's obviously made real friends, and I think his interactions with Jeff Lowe, I think it's a little bit of therapy for him. I think in a good way. He sees Jeff as his friend.
I actually forgot about this. Jeff Lowe was teasing this Coleman story, like this big Coleman story. We never got it.
Did we get it? Okay, I thought I missed it.
I thought I missed it too. I went back.
Okay,
I didn't get it. I want to hear
that. Is this Coleman story the new rock opera story of our generation? Of KMS 3.4. What? Yeah, I don't know. I really wanted it. If it was, because I could have saved the week if there was some like weird ass Coleman story, like that could have been funny,
Did it somehow tie in with those tweets? Was it Kelly Keegs related? I know there wasn't really any real hints about it, but at the very end of that segment, Jeff seemed to implicate that there was something. It was something to do with tweets. I thought so. I didn't know if it.
You think it was something to do with tweet?
Yeah, it's some type of.
If there's more tweets we haven't seen, I'd be highly doubtful of that. There's been a lot that's been aired out there for that kid.
I mean, Pat, you have Jeff D Lowe's number. Shoot him a text.
Yeah, Pat, you don't know this shit.
I don't have Jeff's number, no, unfortunately.
Well, he answers
Jeff, if you want to text me.
He's definitely got notifications on for you, so
I'll ask him, but I think he'll probably want it out on the show. No.
I thought you would know. I thought you would know, Ford, because you and Jeff D Lowe virtual 69 pretty much. So I thought you would know this stuff.
We just haven't.
Yeah, he was. You know what? And he still had your back the other day, Pat. I think you should appreciate that loyalty.
That was a nice moment.
It's nice to see loyalty appreciated sometimes.
Thank you.
But I do like I'll get roasted for this, but I do like the Kirk athletic achievements. The yak challenge, the free throw. I would love to be a part of something like that, and I think any like leader of men or athlete would love to be a part of the boys shooting free throws. Trying to get it done. I didn't watch the whole thing, but it was something pretty interesting, and I think. DraftKings will be a good sponsor for Barstool and KMS, right? So, Snell, what do you think? Would you shoot some free throws with the boys? Did you like that?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't touched a basketball probably in over 15 years, probably between 15 and 20 years. But yeah, I would do that. I mean, how the fuck could you do worse than Jeff D Lowe? So when I first saw that clip of Jeff D Lowe doing 27 air balls, I didn't realize of what was going on. I didn't realize he was in the middle of a challenge, and that makes it so much worse, so much more embarrassing. My big takeaway from this whole week is how much Jeff D Lowe, who I like, who, by the way, is looking like he's swelling up or something. He looks like he's chunking up a little bit.
No, Jeff D Lowe is turning into a Minifan, a fat guy, unathletic. He's a loser. He's a prototypical
one of us.
Danny touched on it earlier. When I was a kid, I used to have this little book, and it had a cassette tape, and you'd put the cassette tape in, and the song was my shadow follows me wherever I go. That is Jeff D Lowe and fucking Kirk Minifan now, because they are attached at the hip. It is so embarrassing to see Jeff D Lowe just sink to that level and just kissing Kirk's ass. Yeah, because he's scared. He's scared of Kirk. He doesn't want any of that fire. So, but I love Jeff D Lowe.
There's obviously a genuine friendship.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
I think the dad thing, they bond over that for sure. I think Jeff was in dire straits, and I think Kirk sincerely helped him out with that. So I agree, but it is funny to see.
But let's pray for Jeff D Lowe. Jeff D Lowe. Don the jeweler said he has gout.
Wow,
it looks like it.
Yeah. So Jeff D Lowe, let's pray.
He's down 10. He said he's skinnier than Andy Mayo now.
That's like me saying. That's like me saying I'm down 20 pounds mentally.
Can your hog get goat? I don't know if can your piece get gout? I don't know if that I don't know. Interesting.
Jeff D Lowe, man, but he's every day turning into more and more of a Minifan. It's crazy. Let's get into some of the Minifan drama of the week. It was early in the week, but we had Big Tits Red versus Blind Owl. Red called Blind Owl a burden on society. When if Red gets a government funded dental work, he's definitely a burden on society too. I think Red went too far here. But what do you think about the Red versus BO tilt?
Who Who struck first blood? Like over who crossed the line first?
Well, I think Red crossed the line when he said that BO is a burden to his family. Like that's kind of a dick move, in all honesty. Like
What was
like,
that in
the guy's
response
blind.
to?
Well,
Because
Sheldon
blind-
didn't Blind Owl lash out at Sheldon?
Yeah, but what did he lash out at Sheldon about? Was he calling
I think
him,
he just
like,
said he sucks on the show, but I mean that's not
okay,
new.
well, that's like you have these run divas spouting their mouth and then going after Blind Owl, who's a great guy, and Blind Owl roasted Red. He was saying Red got breast augmentation surgery and stuff, and then Red crossed it. That was a clear cross the line moment, right?
Yeah, BA, you finally learned what a real diva is. You've seen it now. You know, you asked.
Oh,
you asked
yeah.
and you shall receive.
Well,
I mean, look, there.
Tabor might be the biggest diva ever. You have to admit it.
I don't know. I think when people go
It was
over the line,
uncalled
it
for,
sucks. It
Yeah.
sucks.
I mean, Blind Owl's a nice guy. He's got his blog. You know, he's a contributing member of the Minifan world, a consistent contributing member of the Minifan world. And you know, I like Red when he's around, but you can't count on the guy. He's in and out. You know, like your mom on a Tuesday.
Sneaks brings up a good point. Red's bra crossed the line. But yeah, we make like because Red will probably say, "Oh, well, he's calling my tits big, so he's crossing the line." You call the guy a burden on his family, like that's a little bit fucked. I don't know, but Ford, what do you think?
I wish we could. Sorry, B. I was just going to say. I think for Red, you know what? This is one fence I wish could be mended. It sounds like it's beyond repair, but back when him and Menners did Minifandom together, that was actually a really fucking good show. They did a good job, good back and forth. In all seriousness, I enjoyed the two of them together because Red can actually be really good at this when he wants to be, and I think he's thoughtful, he's well spoken, and him and Menners had a great rapport, and then they had their falling out, and it's just it's been downhill since.
Freddie Lynn said Red is the thrill ride of the network. He sucks. Kev Bart said Red has low T. Sneaks is saying Danny go titty fuck him. Ford, as a rundown guy, and and I've been saying the rundown's compromised for weeks now. What do you think after you see this guy go after a sweetheart in Blind Owl?
I think he was definitely standing up for Sheldon, but I had to read it a couple times to make sure that I was processing it all correctly because it was a little bit aggressive. But
it wasn't. There was no humor to it, right?
It wasn't funny.
That's what I was looking for.
Right.
You could have made it funny.
Yeah, I think he was standing up for Sheldon. That was a weird situation with that kind of rundown coming out that day, which I think one person that really surprised me during that was the Little People Big World guy. I thought he was funny during that. He had some good one-liners. I wanted to throw that out there, but I get standing up for your friend, but yeah, maybe he did take it a little bit too far.
It's a classic. They're like, Menners doesn't get the joke. Like, you don't get the joke, Red. I think he should apologize. I really think he should.
But do you think that's too far compared to a lot of the stuff we see? There's a lot worse shit online than that.
Well, I'm saying I'm not saying he said something like crazy, but like the guy's blind. He saying he's a burden to his family is a personal attack across the line with no humor in it. Like you could, I used to call him BO, and I said his name's BO because he stinks, or you could say his family thinks he stinks because he's blind or something. But just to call him a burden to society has no humor. It has no humor attached to it.
And this also might be when you differentiate between the written word and like if he was on a podcast or a stream. Like if I say the same thing to Snell right now, it wouldn't make any sense. And I don't know Snell and I like him and I wouldn't say that. But, if I was going for some shock value, then maybe you'd be like, all right, well, maybe that wasn't funny, but we can see you weren't serious. Whereas when you write it out, it's like, well, is he just completely being a dick without any comedic value?
Yeah, I think he should apologize. They said they're the network, they're honor integrity guys. I think he should apologize.
Well, it should be a live. It shouldn't be a written apology. It should be live online, and Sheldon should be there too. And Sheldon can stand up for himself.
But I've reached out to the rundown guys. I'm like, let's do this live thing on the KMS Twitter. Kirk said me and Menners versus the rundown guys. I love to do that, to call them out but they won't do that because they're scared. They're scared to do it. They know that they'll get body bag because like Menners and I are objectively funny people. They are not, and they're not good on their toes. So. I'm willing to go one really to do that conglomerate. And I think Danny's right. If we all came together and shot this shit for an hour, by the end, everyone would be like, okay, everyone's just busting balls,
And I'm not saying that this is necessarily the case in this blind owl situation. I can only speak kind of for myself when I was in one of these situations. Is like you kind of put yourself in these situations, and I like before I couldn't handle it. I went at it with people.
Is this when you called? Is this when you called the FBI because someone opened your mail?
I did not. I never said I called the FBI. BA, get your facts straight. You're a
You can
terrible
cross, you can
host.
cross that one out.
You're a terrible host, BA.
I crossed it off the list.
You can cross that one
crossed
out.
off the fucking list. I didn't approve that question in the pre-show. How dare you, BA?
Well, that's why I
I
don't
wasn't on the list.
I have these guys being like, "Hey, can you send me the topics before?" Like, I can't send that topic before. I'm like, throw it in right now.
I'm like fucking Putin. I have a pre-approved list that I'm gonna give you next time. No, I never said the fucking FBI. Obviously, that was someone taking me for a ride. Obviously, that was someone fucking with me, and I fell for it. But that's what I'm saying. Is you put yourself in these situations to go at it with people, and you will go at it with these people, and someone's gonna say something that sticks up your ass. I've been since my little return here. I haven't fucked with anybody, and nobody, not one person, has fucked with me yet. And that's the big difference.
I also think because you did block me back in the day, but I would always be like, "Hey, FBI, check this guy's mail."
I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it. I was not in the space.
I get what you're saying too. It's also too like once you get to know a little bit of the people, they're busting balls, right? It's not like whatever. But
I will say and some people don't believe it, and that's fine, but I was getting it a lot worse than just busting balls. I was getting a lot worse than that. So it's just, there is a line, and it was crossed for me. But again, I interacted, and I pushed, So I was guilty too.
But Snell, I think you recognized that at some point, and you went away for a while and took the time. And since you've been back, you've been going strong. So kudos to you.
Yeah.
I think you recognized the situation, you removed yourself from it, and then you came back when you're ready.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think
about? What do you guys think about? What do you guys think about this? The other drama of the week: Mick versus Menners. Mick is sending Menners a file that's 27 gigs. I've
been there.
To put on the KMS network. In comparison, I downloaded The Irishman. It was under a gig. So The Irishman is 27. The BAP is 27 times The Irishman. Like,
well, yeah, but that's not really accurate. That's a compressed version of The Irishman.
He's like double GTA.
Okay,
GTA 5.
Snell. 27 gigs
let's
for
not
30.
Do this.
24
let's do this because you're a good person to ask because you used to say your videos took like 27 hours to upload.
Yeah. Because I had terrible internet. Because I had terrible internet and I was shooting all those stupid fucking reloaded videos in 4K. Mine weren't 27, but they were like 14, 16, 18 gigs.
Yours are elite. Okay, Snell. Yours are at least outside by a fire. Mick is in front of his computer fucking interviewing someone. How is it 27 gigs?
I have no idea.
Plus, Snell had video, mixed audio only.
Yeah.
Is 27 gigs of audio?
Oh, yeah, it's not video.
I mean, that's all he ever shows.
Oh, so then that means
he hasn't been using cameras because he said he wasn't using cameras during the renovation.
So that means his we're gonna get down the weeds here, but this is like his compression must be through the roof then if his file size is that big. I don't know. We need a professional here. I don't know what the reason is. That's crazy.
But then Menners then Mick is like demanding that he gets to upload on the network on his own time. Like Menners is the CEO, he determines the schedule, all this stuff. Like who is Mick to like come in and say I'm gonna upload on my own? Like there's a chain of command, he has to follow it. I think it's sad. What do you guys think?
The part that didn't sit right with me, and I agree with Menners kind of ending it, that I like Mick too, was when basically he was like, you can send it to Joe. She can upload it. He's like, I'm not sending it to fucking Joe. Like it came off as like rude and disrespectful to her as like kind of a third party shot. So like that's when he ended it. So I agreed with that. I didn't like that portion.
Also Mick, like his episode was he said he started recording at 12:30, then he said he ended it at 4 o'clock and it's 35 minutes. Like how many times is he retaking stuff? Like he's a crazy guy.
I think he stops and starts. Like he'll call somebody and like get that clip on, and then he'll do the rest of it later. I don't know. He's got his methods, I think.
I had the same reaction.
Look, I've become a Mick guy, and he's had my back a couple times, which is a lot more than I can say for many other people. So I'm gonna appreciate that so much.
I've had your back on the wedding thing. Remember that?
You have, Patrick. I appreciate that. Everybody here, for the most part, has had my back. But
I had the same reaction too, because I had access to the network, and then when Menners took over, my access was pulled, and I wasn't happy initially because I didn't at the time. I wasn't the biggest fan of Menners because I had the wrong impression of the guy. Again, my fault. But yeah, I had the same reaction where I was like, "What the fuck? You took my access, blah blah blah." But at the end of the day, I just upload it to Menners, and he uploads it whenever he wants. It's not a big deal.
He's the CEO. He's the CEO,
and that does. And his point about scheduling is a good one, right? And
of course.
He needs to know when things are going up and not, because otherwise people bitch and complain like, "Oh, you put this show on at the same time as mine, or right after, or right before." So he's got to avoid that. I do think some of it from Mick was, look, I think he was used to having access. He was the only one uploading shit on the network for about a year. Yep. So I think he was just used to that. And then, to your point, Snell, like you have it. Well, and then when it's gone, it's like, what the fuck? How come I could do this before and now I can't?
Isn't there an ability for you to have the ability to upload but not publish? So that'd be a good compromise where he could upload the video himself, but he just wouldn't be able to publish.
A true leader isn't going to compromise with.
That's not true at all.
No. A true leader needs to know when to compromise and when to not. Are you getting like Mick's demanding stuff? He's never even posted too many things on the network recently under the CEO's leadership.
I agree. I'm not a big Mick fan. I'm not. I shit on him on my show because he walked out in the studio. But I'm just saying, I get his point. I get where he's coming from. I don't agree with it, but I understand.
Okay, so that I think we can bring John on and we can start taking calls. If you guys want to stay on for calls, or if you guys want to drop off. But John, are the calls open?
Not yet.
Well, fuck, you're here for 45 minutes, man. What the fuck's going on?
Hey, John.
I wasn't here for 45. I just got here. And
I
have to go pay the goddamn $35 so we could take all your stupid fucking phone calls.
All right.
I like this guy.
Invoice Menners.
Huh? I'll invoice Menners, the exchange rate. Snell, I'm a huge fan. You killed it.
I like
tonight.
this guy. He's always ripping darts. I like this fucking guy.
There we go.
Right,
I never knew if Snell liked me because he never answered me, but then I realized he doesn't use Twitter because he's a maniac and he'll go insane. But no, Snell, I'm a huge fan. I love the show. I think it's great. Snell show is like the week after review show. It's like you get it a week later than everything. So it's like, I like that.
I'm sure the people want to call in. I know the chat's going off. People have a lot to discuss about this week. So let's get it going. We could talk while you're setting up the calls. The KMS Rewind was, and I thought it went pretty well. Danny, what did you think? And Jesse Moore, BA is gay. I'm not gay. Okay.
Glad we cleared that up. John, I like the facial hair. It looks good.
Does it?
Good growing the stash. Yeah. Get the stash going.
This is what I thought was a beard, so thank you.
So BA, you just said you thought it went well. You said on the show that you thought it sucked.
Well, John did me dirty. I wasn't supposed to be on.
Hold on, stop. BA did me dirty.
Let me go.
BA did me dirty. He hopped on the show 10 minutes before the show started.
No. He
said, I think I might hop on.
No, I said I was going to stay in the background. And when Jay came on, he couldn't have any audio. So VD is like, BA, stay on for this. And I said, okay, I haven't listened to the show, but I'll hear the clips. And then we're talking about this interview. And I'm like, okay, where's the clip for the interview? And John's like, I'm going to put it in later. I'm like, well, fuck, I don't even know what the interview we're talking about.
Which everybody that was supposed to be on the show agreed to, that all those clips were going in later.
But that's what I'm saying.
I'll say this. My vision for the rewind, the first episode went perfectly. Like, that's exactly how I want. Like, we're talking about Danny, know how if you guys were talking about the episode, like randomly, I would just put that clip in there instead of us having to sit there and play a fucking clip. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but you're dealing with divas. I want to be.
That's because we did our fucking jobs and we listened to the episode before.
Because you listened to the episode before.
You can't wait for the show to hear the talk about diva. Yeah. Oh, John, play me the clip. I was too fucking lazy.
You sounded like the biggest
actually
idiot.
Fucking fucking break.
You know what, Danny? I will look inward.
You were the biggest. You jumped in a stream. You jumped in a stream. It wasn't your show. You didn't listen to the episode, and then you bitched about it, and then you turned VD on me because he thought You were
But then
right.
I
It
said
was
you did a
bad.
great job.
I
No,
noticed
you
that.
did. You texted me and you said I did great. It
said
took a
you did-
little extra
it
editing.
was I said you did a great job. I then was in the comments the whole time pumping up
You
the
were.
boys. And I will look inward. I was a diva in that moment. Danny is right. I was
Also, I said you can hop in my show at any time, BA, and it just takes a little more editing. Like I said, all it takes, and you get that out of it. So it's like you might not. It may sound bad, and we can make fun of ourselves, but I don't care if you.
I
hop
do
in.
agree
Fuck
with
you,
Don
Ted
the
Sack.
Jeweler. You have to get rid of the rewind sound. Like it was a little bit
Too much of the rewind sound. Yeah,
too
I
much
thought so.
rewind. It was a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
BA was
I
great in
think-
the comments. Thank you.
John, I think you did an outstanding job producing, having the clips. You kept it going. You were on topic. VD, like he had said, had prepared for that episode, and that was actually going to be an episode just with him and Daver back in the day, because I was traveling. So he had prepared for it, and then when that recording didn't work out, so he had that ready to go in the hopper, which I still have. I still have the lost Quantum Kirk episode, which someday might be released.
For
we have calls?
for the fans, real quick, I just have to call in. I had to wait for that. For the fans, real quick, that are saying there were not enough clips. How many clips total did we do on Quantum Kirk compared to this last episode?
No, there were a lot. There were more.
I did
clips than
40.
normal
There was
Quantum Kirk.
43 minutes of clips in that episode, and there were people complaining about not enough clips.
Yeah, no, that was.
There's
we
43
did many with zero
Fucking
clips,
crazy.
including
Yeah, there
one
was-
where you literally say in the episode, "Oh, guys, guys,
clip in here.
I'll put it in later, bro. Don't worry." And then it's just like no, it's like and
You
I,
need
and
clips.
I
You need
play up
clips
the
for
clip,
the
and then
show.
there's just nothing. But
You need
I think the issue was that maybe you guys found out how it's maybe a little bit harder to do a rewind show than you realized. I did think that there was a lot of, and I appreciate John, and this is I've been asked this a lot, so let me address this.
Oh, go right ahead.
The distinction between KMS Rewind and Quantum Kirk is an important one. Quantum Kirk is on an indefinite hiatus. It is not dead.
Correct.
Let me make it very clear. And I'm fine with John's intro that says we're moving on and all that. I think it's very well done.
Oh,
It's
no,
very
I thought
clever.
that was just to piss off Daver because it says
yeah.
now we have to
I
get
think
rid of
it's-
this pussy. And I knew
we have
that
the
would
calls
piss him
ready?
off.
I think it's well done. So as
No
long as
calls.
you keep calling it Rewind, and then Quantum
Are
Kirk
they
has
ready?
the option to
Calls.
come back at some
Yeah,
point,
the
maybe
calls are
different
ready.
channel, different time.
Call-
I think
Everyone, this is Menors Live
Go.
hosted by This is Menors Live hosted by BA. Call in 844-906-3800. That's 844-906-3800.
Load them up.
Yeah, but I think it turned out well. I think for someone that hasn't listened to the show, the clips being there on the show would have helped. Look at this. Warren of the North. Thank you. And he's a voice of reason. I agree with B. You should play the clips live so you can react in real time. There may be small nuances in a 2-minute clip that you won't remember if you listen pre-show. And I agree.
Yep.
BA, did I play clips live?
But not all of them.
Okay, so I'm not going to play 43 minutes of clips live while we're sitting there who just listened to the show.
No. I think you could. VD even said he preferred the clip because you could react to it after. I'm not even trying to chirp. I'm saying because they're
that's why the hosts of the show. So John was host, but also producing. That's why the hosts of the show need to pick out the clips ahead of time and know what they are. So instead of saying, "Oh, we're going to play clip number 4," you say, "Look, this is the one referencing, Kirk gets mad," and they know what it is and they react real time. So you don't have to take the time during recording to actually play it live.
There's callers, but the calls
And look,
dropped, so
it took us 24 episodes to almost get it right, and we still fucked it up. So I'm certainly I'm in a glass house here, but
what I was saying for that show is like on the recording, you play the clip, you react, you play the clip, you react. No, but so you can, like for what Warden said, you can listen to the nuances.
I agree with you, but here's what everyone's like. You should do it like that. How many, like Danny, like I said to Danny before, we would have 2 to 3 clips on an episode. That's it.
I don't think that's good. Like I don't think that. I think that.
So there's people who are saying you should have kept it the old way, and then there's people who are saying there should be more clips. And like I said, there was.
So do we have a call?
I told you I have to call back in.
All right.
It dropped out.
It depended.
Calls
it depended
don't work.
a little bit. It depended on the episode, and it depended on.
I see their
the
calls
guest.
here.
Best producer in the business, John from Scranton, is figuring out the calls right now.
Fuckers.
This is Manners Live, hosted by BA.
2744. Okay, we're good.
Are we good now?
Load them up.
844-906-3800. Please call in. Pretty please. Just please call in.
Pat Ford, just go on mute and call in, please.
I know that.
He's got him.
Do you think he's
Yeah,
got
the callers are lining up. It's just the fucking call. It might be the call-in system because I'm pressing talk and I'm getting nothing.
Actually, I look out my window. It looks like the end of Field of Dreams. I can
Let's
see
produce
them
it.
all lined up.
I 100% know we would have so many calls right now. That's why.
Oh, we have calls. Don't worry.
I
There's
know.
too
So
many.
many.
Maybe there's too many. Yeah.
I need to
too
figure
many
it out,
is
and
good
I have
stuff.
to listen. I'm trying to take calls. I'm trying to hurdle BA's
Thank you
just
for calling
terrible
Colin
takes.
Oh,
Studios
there we go. We
host
hear it.
and
We hear it.
call
We hear it. We hear it.
Fucking more clips.
your
If I hear the
6-digit
word
PIN
clips
number.
again from BA,
Dude, I think I am right. Though. I'm the VP. I'm kind of your boss.
Welcome,
Yeah,
host.
I
You
can
are
tell
now
you
in the
just
host
walked
room
into
and
the
can
screen
manage your
as if it
callers
was like
from
a
the Calling
fucking.
Studio web
All right, we got a
interface.
caller 978.
978.
Let's
Welcome
go.
to Menners Live, hosted by
We had a
BA.
bunch of callers too. Call back.
Is this the John from Scranton show live by the network?
Yeah, I forgot I changed it to that.
How are you?
All right, I just wanted to prove that the phones were working eventually. I called like 10 times to try to get in.
What were you gonna say if it worked the first time though?
I was going to be surprised.
Oh, okay. All right, buddy. Thanks
What do you
for
got
the
to say, brother?
All right, bye.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
513.
513. Welcome to Menners Live, hosted by BA.
No, I'm serious though. I'm a huge fan. I'll be right back.
Hey, I'm a producer for Love on the Spectrum. I see 5 candidates on the screen right now. If you guys
Hell
could
yeah.
apply on the website, it'd be really awesome, you guys.
What's
Especially
the
this guy in
website?
Top right.
Hey, how do you feel about not being in the
Website
Fawns?
is,
How do you feel about not being in the Fawns
I
golf
think you're actually going to
tournament?
contact my Twitter, Chris Castanelli, to apply.
Oh, Chris, what? Okay, what do you got to say?
This is as good as the Menners interview. He hung up.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was actually.
Do we have other
Chris
callers?
Castellani.
Do we have other callers?
I hope so.
Yeah, we got 617 just came in.
617. Welcome to Menners Live.
We had like 10
hosted
people
by
that called.
BA. What do you got to say?
Box eating dad says he's trying to call in.
Hello?
Danny.
Oh,
Danny,
yes.
for you.
The Danny speaking. Who is this?
I got a feeling.
What are you saying, brother? Oh, is this Daver? Is
Oh,
this
it's
Daver calling
Daver.
Danner? Is this Daver calling Danny?
Hey, Daver.
I don't think so. Go
I
on.
think he said Daver told him to call.
Yeah, that was a bad call. Yo, here's the deal. If you're going to do a voice like that, like we can't hear you. Like it's fun. Like, but we don't
It's
know.
very
what
high
you're
pitch.
saying. We don't know what you're saying.
No one wants to
No
call
calls
anymore
right
after that.
We
No
have
one wants
we had 10 people that called. 5 of them called back. So there's 5 of you out there.
844-906.
Probably one of them
3800.
is Steve with the F word. I'm vigilant tonight though. Good show tonight. This was a good lineup.
Great lineup,
you.
I think. What do you think, John? Do you think like this week's shows falls on Kirk, or do you think
I
it
thought
falls on
this
the
week's
producers?
shows were fine. It's just like I like this chaos shit. 781.
781, welcome to Menners Live.
Look, I
hosted by
know what
BA.
you. I opened her phone up.
What's up?
By the way, I don't mean on some gay shit, but you look a little small down there, my man.
Who?
Interesting.
If I were you, I'd definitely not be sharing those photos.
What photos? Oh, is this area? Wow,
Look,
I think
Stop
I think
sending my
this is
girl
AI.
snaps or I'll report your ass.
this is AI.
I probably just some loser jerking off the random snaps anyways.
You talking about Patrick Ford? Is this talking about Pat Ford?
508.
508, welcome to Menners Live, hosted by BA.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Ori.
All right.
Hey, Pat Ford.
I want to know if
Hey.
Patrick Ford or Snell can show the dead bodies they have behind them, because they definitely have them.
I have a couch.
Okay.
Oh,
Lift it up.
Oh, I
Lift
thought that
it
was a
up, show
garage
us the
this whole
body.
time. That's not a
So-
garage?
someone in the comments
I just-
earlier
I
did
don't know how to
say
finish a basement.
someone in the comments earlier did say that Snell is in a life-size coffin right now. So Someone did say that.
I like defunct sauna actually.
508.
All my bodies are
Canada.
buried.
I love Toronto. Fuck you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good call.
I thought people would call in and say did the show stink and why
But they
is that
didn't
people
stink.
I don't.
You
No,
can't
but
make
people
them
are-
stink.
Okay, first of all, Snell, I'm not saying this. The people are saying this, so they have a chance to call in with their opinion on
Who's
why
saying
the-
it?
Oh,
Michigan
you
man?
haven't.
People.
I'm making a
Michigan
T-shirt
man on
of
Twitter?
Mama K. I'm
Wow,
making
shut
a
up.
T-shirt of that Mama K tweet.
there's
4
tweets out
people.
there.
I
There's
state
tweets
the
out
obvious on Twitter. Doing it.
But I'm
Wow.
saying
2
they could
people?
call in right now, Snell. Oh, Snell's calling these guys out.
He's
Snell's
No, I'm just
calling
saying,
Name
like,
my name.
He's got a
all
laundry list.
all these people, it's all these people. It's 2 people. And
Yeah,
if Kirk was sincerely triggered in the moment, then I think he
Hold
was
on,
just triggered in the
502.
moment.
We have-
520. You're up.
520. Welcome to Mariners Live, hosted by BA.
I think you guys did a great job tonight, and I
Hell
think
yeah.
3 episodes or 2 is more than enough. The Minifans don't deserve more than 2, and listening to them whine about it on Twitter was unbelievable when the news came out that they were going to go down to 3 episodes.
Bio dude, what do you feel that you're not in the Fawns golf tournament next round? You've been cut by the
His audio sounds
commissioner.
great tonight.
I don't care, man. I don't care. There's a live one going on that I didn't tell you guys about. Like, there's a whole other one going on that
Wow.
I'm doing.
You're going to live, Bio dude. You're going to live. You're going to live.
Bio
Leaving
dude
the
to live.
Fawns and going to
Wow.
No, I'm already at live. I already have a stable of good players at live.
He's in
live. I
Saudi
can't believe
Arabia right now.
Bio dude left the Fawns for live. Holy
Breaking news.
The 5.
wow! Wow!
All right, guys. Hey, listen. Seriously, though. Seriously, you guys. The first probably 30 or 40 minutes was absolute fire. Everybody delivered, and then John from Scranton got there.
Fuck you. Yeah.
Pat Williams is calling you a snake, Bio dude, for leaving to the live.
He left.
Ooh.
Bio dude tweeted me. He's like, I can't wait. This is going to be a great show. And then John's going to show up with terrible audio and a cig hanging out of his mouth.
Well, you did, John. You did fuck up because we had so many calls right away, and then
Every single one of those callers has called back. So
No, I
you're
know.
wrong.
That's
No,
that's it.
well, I am right.
It's got to be somebody else. All these
Nope.
John
pussies.
It
doesn't
was
like
10
that.
out of 10.
John
Come on,
doesn't
all these
like that now. I'm
pussies.
his.
The only
boss.
one we
I'm his
didn't
boss.
take, I think, is Steve's. I think he hung up, which is
Who's a bigger Mama K simp, Bio dude or BA?
I'm making a T-shirt of that tweet. These freaking
Which
losers.
one? Yeah.
Can we call
Freaking
somebody?
Losers. We can. We got 617 on though.
617. Welcome to Menors Live, hosted by BA.
Do you have any clips?
What's up, Davey Emotions?
Hey,
Buddy?
Annie.
What's up? How's my boy Pat Ford doing tonight?
What's up, buddy?
What's
Did
up,
you
pal?
see-
Hey, I have to say, Kirk was not in the wrong going after Brandon Walker. Kirk's out there sweating his balls off, working his ass off. This guy comes over, starts chirping. He wasn't. I don't think he was paying him a compliment. I think he knew exactly what he was doing, and I think Kirk was right to go after him. I would have done the same
It was
thing.
like a backhanded compliment because he was
Yeah.
like he
does
was
them all the
like, oh, I
time.
can't believe Kirk's this good. Like, so it was kind of backhanded, but it, you know,
Yeah, well, he was just sleeping. I mean, we're seeing it on TV. Kirk's out there. He's sleeping and comes in here and starts doing it. That's totally called for, in my opinion.
Danny, did you listen to the rewind? Because we played one of your calls from that time, and you asked to have Billy Tibbetts on the episode. Should you apologize? Because you may be the person that was responsible for Billy Tibbetts at the end.
I clipped it. I'll send it to you.
No,
That's the first thing I thought.
That was a long time ago.
You had a different name then, Dan. You
You were
went by,
someone
went by
else.
Quinn from Long Island or something.
You were
It was
someone else.
something
If you
different.
watch
No,
the
you were Artie.
Yeah.
I'll
Artie. Yeah.
have to- I'll
Artie
have
from
to
the
check it
South
out.
Shore. Artie from the
Yeah.
South Shore.
Yeah, well, that newsflash. That's who I really am.
That's me, bud.
I'm just pissed. I finally get a call in a Rico because they haven't been putting me through. And I had a good call. I had him laughing at the end, and it gets cut off on the show. I asked him if Coleman's grandmother was going to get lucky with the priest on Valentine's Day, and Rico started laughing. He thought it was funny, but Anyway, I think the lack of calls is hurting the show. The calls generate so much subject, you know.
Yeah.
What show are you talking about? This show?
Danny.
No,
No, he's joking. He's joking. That was a classic
it's a
Danny
joke.
joke.
sorry.
What do you think about Cranky Kirk this
Brought to you
week?
by
Do you
Danny
think?
Baruch.
What do you think? Cranky Kirk caused the shows to be a little bit subpar?
I think he's got a little buyer's remorse with Coleman in that he realized Gus might have been a better candidate. And then I think the thing that Jeff Lowe knows about Coleman is probably stewing. He's probably been shitting on Coleman behind the scenes. Dave hates Coleman, and I think he's just fed up with the kid. He's a little brat from BC, you know. BC kids are fucking losers.
Was Gus really holding it all together? You know, was Gus really the guy
Gussie
holding
glue
it?
stick?
Gussie glue stick. Gussie glue stick.
I'll say this.
And then I think
Sorry, the few times I've been in studio, I get there super early because I'm always scared of traffic. I get there like 7:30. The few times that I've been in, Gus is already there, just moving around. I don't know what he's doing.
Gus was the one that invited me. Like, he was always the one that was in contact with me, inviting people on the show and stuff like that. So maybe he was the glue stick.
It was funny though, but
So
from
wild to think
from
about.
the producer search, that episode that I was in the last day before the producer search, Gus didn't listen to the end of the Kirk Minahan show and didn't know that he was invited in till like the last minute. So like Gus from the beginning, like that was Gus. He doesn't listen to shit. So that's where it's like he did that from the and that almost got him a job, you know. So Gus,
You got anything else, Dan?
Right. That's the beauty of fucking Gus, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
He's retarded.
Danny, I did rank Gus my #1 producer in the history of Kirk Minahan. I think he had a great run. He had a big run. His run did numbers.
We're fucking crazy.
Shine
bright. I think he's coming back. Bring him back. Bring him in.
The Gus bus,
the dark horse.
Bring the Gus bus. I'll be driving the Gus bus. Let's go. I love it. Well, anyway, keep up the good work, boys.
We'll
see you soon.
Brother.
See you, buddy.
See you in Portland later.
See you in Portland.
It is funny. The Gus era feels like it was like years ago, but in reality, we lost the lunatic like 2 months ago.
If you count the Gus era and you give him the producer search as part of his era, it was a top tier era.
You can put all the Gus. You can put all the Gus episodes together in one file, and I bet it's smaller than 24 gigabytes.
Gus and Just.
I guarantee it's smaller.
Gus and Just. Gus and Just.
908, you're up.
908, welcome to Mentors Live, hosted by BA.
Yeah, I just got to say, Coleman needs to go. Justin needs to go to #1 chair, and Gus needs to go back to 2 chair.
Ooh,
Let's
that's a different dynamic.
Wow.
Because Coleman's just insufferable. He's a fucking tool. He sucks on air. His stories blow. He's a little fucking rich faggot from New Jersey.
Alrighty. There we go. Thanks, buddy.
Cut him. You have to cut him.
It was a good call.
You can't say that. What are you doing, man? These guys are so stupid.
That's gonna spark a good conversation too.
I'm gonna get in trouble for
you
that.
can't drop it. You could drop it anytime, but you can't drop it here.
Save that kind of stuff for Meeting in the Minds or something else.
You could do it on TV.
Some garbage.
Unless Kirk brings it back, then we can't say it. So sorry. It's a Kirk Minahan network.
That one's a risky one to bring back.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm pretty sure this might. I don't know.
Hello, one with canitas.
Hello.
Please add extra onions, cilantro. I would like this order to go for Roberto.
Alberto?
Yeah, could you repeat that, please?
Hola. I said I would like to order 2 burritos, one with carne asada, one with carnitas. Add extra onions and cilantro.
Okay. Pick up for delivery.
You don't have carne asada burritos?
No, we do. We do.
We have whatever you need, brother. Whatever you need.
Then what kind of place are you, man?
We have Jay from Lynn is picking it up. He's taking the next bus and he'll be there.
Let me go give you your number. So you're the best burritos in the Estados Unidos.
Anything for Jerry's uncle.
We got you, Jerry. 45 minutes on the bus. 2 buses minimum. 2 buses.
He's just itching to do that Juan, dude. He's just calling us play some burrito orders.
How's your wife and kids, Juan? Is she still there?
He should just come back just being like, me and the wife are back together. I'm plowing that shit, dude. He should just come back confident.
Oh,
Yeah,
is Juan still there? No? Is he not there? John?
No, he's gone. He's gone.
Oh, okay. I was asking.
I didn't know you were talking to me. My bad.
Oh my god. What do I have on the overflow? Oh, I thought the moment of the week was BD Boxing Dad Steve from Gloucester impression. It had to be the number one moment. That was the number one moment of the week. That was I think BD should do a Steve from Gloucester like podcast, but instead of like 12 minutes a week, he does like about 1 minute a week. Steve from Gloucester up there.
He should just do the inconsistency podcast and kind
the
of
inconsistent whatever he just puts up a minute whenever he wants. The inconsistency podcast. That's good.
Steve fired me quicker from a show. Steve from Gloucester fired me quicker from any show I've ever worked on. I did one show with him. He never called back.
Yeah, how did that?
I thought you. I figured
John tried to ruin Steve from Gloucester.
I went in there. I went in there to defend Steve from Gloucester, and that's how fucking potent this show.
But John, you got to think if you're defending Steve from Gloucester, that makes Steve from Gloucester look terrible.
Yeah,
true. You know what I mean? You got to look at it from his perspective. Like,
so the thing with the BED impression, did you guys notice? Did you notice that? Oh, is there a caller? Sorry.
No, Danny, go ahead. I said Danny.
Oh, that the first time it got brought up in the show, it just got dropped right away. It was several days later when it came up again, and everyone pretended to not know who Box Eating Dad was, which until his name finally got put out there.
I thought they said they knew him.
Definitely, Justin.
It took time. It took a while. I was like, oh,
Kirk,
we don't really know who he is.
Kirk knows who like 95% of the people are. He definitely knows Box Eating Dad. So
I have a confession to make. The calls didn't work to begin with because I called the call-in number.
I know, John. It's okay. It's okay. I'm trying to collab. I'm trying to give you.
I'm sorry. I was trying to jump hurdles of BA asking for more clips, and
BA did cut you off like 4 or 5 times. He's like, John, the calls.
Yeah, are we taking calls?
Yeah. So
because I knew the calls.
He asked me to explain the KMS rewind stuff, and then asked me, "Are we taking calls?" 9 times in the middle of it.
I know, but I was, you know what I'm saying? The calls weren't working. So like I was saying, are we taking calls?
Usually I have it ready when I come in, but I wanted to bitch about the fact I had to pay again.
Yeah, I was talking.
If you come to Portland, I'll cover a bunch of calls for you. There,
I bitch every time because the minimum they let you put in there is $35, and that's just such a dickhead thing to do. Like, let me just put $15 in there if I like it. $15 lasts so long.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
Call in 844-906-3800. Ford, go ahead.
Did you see the tweet? Did you see Menner's tweet like an hour before the show? Did everybody see that?
What do you say? Read it.
No, he tweeted it was a selfie. He tweeted from the wrong account. He took a selfie at the cricket tournament, like saying getting ready for the match today. That he posted. He's like, "Oh, you tweet from the wrong account."
Hey, Manners probably has so much like clout in
Don
Australia.
the jeweler has it. Yeah, Donna Julia was able to screenshot it.
Manners has so much clout in like the niche, the cricket community in Australia. Like the clout community of the Minifan world is like small pickings. That's why he's the CEO.
He just walks into those fucking broadcasts and sits right in the center mic.
Hey, when Manners walks into like a cricket convention, like everyone's looking his way. Oh shit, that's fucking bad Manners.
He's the Joe Buck. He's the Joe Buck of the cricket world.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Manners is a professional.
Everyone's like, look down there, that's Manners.
You know.
We just shit on him and treat him like a total little asshole.
There's 100 more calls just like that he had.
Don the jeweler. Oh yeah. Don the jeweler's right. Cricket clout is heavy clout. Oh, what's the call? What's the number?
203.
203. Welcome to Manners Live, hosted by BA.
Hi, good evening, fellas. Can we talk about how John's trying to destroy the network from the inside?
Fuck you. How did I try to destroy the network? If I'm trying to destroy the network, I'll destroy the network.
Let the caller go.
Fuck you,
John, that's 2 weeks in a row you let one of those slip.
Well,
should've
that
thought,
you can't say
Gary's
that's on
fucking-
John. That's on the caller. Like, how can John
Yeah, dude,
control that?
predict what he's about to say.
I didn't say that one.
Caller, go ahead though.
A producer, a real producer, John, would predict that.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
He's right. He's
That's a
right.
good point. That's a good point. Caller, I don't think John's actively trying to hurt the network. I think sometimes his instincts hurt it, like calling into the call-in number first on Mike and the Minifans. We have 10 calls. Like we had 10 calls lined up.
The only shitty things I do are
that.
just
So, but I think
publicly fucking.
BA,
It's all
BA,
public.
Go ahead.
I think it has a lot to do with his laissez-faire attitude.
Yes.
You know, his cool guy shtick.
See, that's why I
His whole
wanted him
attitude
see.
and vibe. He's just.
Go ahead.
He's not right for the network. He's not right for the network.
That's just
No,
a classic
this is
take
where
from
you're
a guy
wrong.
who
This is where
doesn't
you're
isn't
wrong.
involved with the network, because behind the scenes, I'm the guy who does everything for these.
This is
little
where you're wrong.
shits.
I think John's position shouldn't
Yeah, you're the
be
dubstep
like that.
guy.
No, John shouldn't be the producing, the CEO, the central, like the chief executive producing. He should be the chief marketing officer. John's best at making videos, clips, marketing. You know, he could do producing. He could be an intern. You know,
I'm
he
really
could be
not a good
maybe-
producer.
I
But
fully
marketing
agree
is
with
great.
BA, he should be not heard. If you know what I mean.
Fuck you.
Great point.
Call it a
Wow.
day. Call it a
Great
day,
point.
though. Call it a day.
BA
We
versus
got
John, or-
617.
617. Welcome to Menors Live,
Great
hosted by
call.
BA.
Tough weight cut.
Oh, wow, Snell. Holy fuck, Snell. Like, what? I thought we were buddies. I guess I did
From
do
the
the.
clouds.
I guess I did do the mailbox joke on you. So that was Snell from the Crafters. Like, good one.
Someone on
God,
this network
Menor-
has my
welcome-
fucking back.
Caller, welcome to Menors Live, hosted by BA.
Fellas, I am calling because I'm kind of a loose Minifan. I'm definitely not Minifans like you guys are, but do I remember that Coleman claimed he didn't watch porn and didn't jerk off?
He did say that, and it's fucking
Correct.
a lie and wrong. It's wrong if it's not a lie.
So a 23-year-old that A, doesn't watch porn and B, doesn't jerk off has nothing to add to any conversation. He has no life experience. He's a weenie. He's definitely a mama's boy. I'd be shocked if he has ever had sex. I think he's a virgin, and virgins are not interesting. He's dull. He's boring. He has no life experience to create conversation. And I think Kirk's catching on to that. And I think Kirk took him in because he kind of reminded him of Harry. And I think Kirk has some weird psychological shit going on with him. He's a future Harry. That he sees Harry. He did.
Listen, there was a big thing on the
that's what
producer
happened
search.
to
Kirk
me,
kept
right?
saying he wants a young boy that has no kids and no girlfriend. So I'm just saying, you might be right.
I don't know about
Yeah.
that.
It's a gay guy.
If you're a fringe Minifan,
It's
if you're
weird.
you said if you're a fringe Minifan, how do you know so much? Like, how do you know this deep level of Kirk's life? You know,
His son.
Because I've listened enough over the years. I'm 46 and followed him from the WEEI days. But I've only recently been like listening to the point where I found you guys, and I can't decide
gotcha.
if I'm a big fucking loser that I'm listening to you or a big loser
Definitely.
that I'm calling in. But I'm not feeling good about myself right now.
No, you're
Yeah,
doing great.
one of us,
This
pal.
was a great
One of
call.
us.
This
You're amongst
is a great
friends.
call.
You're amongst
Yep.
fellow losers.
Yeah, you can.
All
be right.
right. So I'm trying to keep up with it in more detail, but I caught some of that producer search. Obviously, that was a good time, and everyone was tuning into that. And that was something that stuck out with me about Coleman, where I said he shouldn't be hiring Coleman. He's going to add nothing, and if he can't even keep up with the technical side of things, what's he doing? What good is he?
what? Who would
he
you?
had
Who would
nothing
your
to the show.
dream? Who would your dream producer be? Montante?
No, I hate to say it, but yeah, Montante would be better than Coleman. But I think
With Justin?
he missed it with the Montante Mick combo.
Can you imagine Montante trying to set up the Dave Portnoy stream? Are you
No,
fucking
but
kidding
he
me
wouldn't.
right now?
He would need a second guy. Montante and Gus. That's why
No,
my pick was Montante Gus. I think they complement each other.
That would have been better.
Yeah.
And Montante is an adult. He has stuff to add. He has interest. Coleman's got nothing.
I like the Justin.
I
Gus
did
idea.
witness. I did witness
call.
Montante live. And didn't know how to record the episode, and nothing was on. Like the cameras were off, and he couldn't press play because the roadcaster was off. And Cullinan just looked at me like, "What the fuck?" But
That's
if you
what I
put him
mean,
with Gus
bro.
knows how to do that shit.
Bro, like there is like you still at the end of the day you have to do the producer's job. And look, this is what happens when everyone during the producer search is like, "That's not important. That's not important." Well, look where we are now.
Yeah.
Caller, you want to be a guest on the KMS Rewind?
Caller, you got anything else?
No, I got nothing else. You guys are doing a great job. Appreciate the entertainment as I'm alone jerking off on a Friday night.
Hey, at least you're jerking off.
Yeah, I could have pegged that one. The guy thought it was a prerequisite to the job that Coleman jerk off.
Dude,
you want to be on McBait?
I think it's completely fair to call Coleman a weenie, though. He's a kind
Could be
of
how he got into the show.
Yeah, kind of a weenie. I like to judge people by what.
It
Yeah, it was a great call. First time caller too.
Was he?
He was. I could tell. It tells me.
Oh, actually, yeah, you literally know.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Wait, what did that say? I smoke cigs like a guy who wears.
Sean from Scranton smokes cigs like a guy who wears socks and
I don't
sandals.
wear sandals, bro. I have fucking style.
I saw one that says you smoke cigs like a guy that eats his own toenails.
That might be true. That might be true if I'm.
Drew Band said bad showing for BA. I thought I did pretty good, actually. But.
I think you're in a bad streak, BA. I think the people are in your head. No, I'm kidding.
No, that's true because I have two. Like I have my buddies trying to dictate the Mike and the Minifans narrative. I have people attacking me and try to dictate the Mike and the Minifans narrative.
God,
I'm shocked.
The narrative.
BA is in a tough place. I'm with you there.
The narrative.
Yeah. But I think you're right. They're right, and I have to let their voice be heard as well. I think I did a good job. I said Kirky, cranky Kirk.
You can't judge yourself by if you said Kirk was a piece of shit or not. That doesn't make you.
But I'm not saying he's a piece of shit. But it's like.
But you were just saying like you did say something negative against him. Well, he was cranky this week. He was very cranky, but I think that was because I think he would admit that.
Yeah.
My biggest takeaway is BA hates the show now. That's like my biggest takeaway. From this
Snell. Snell's great. I love Snell. I need someone to give shit to me. No one talks shit to me.
Him and Pat Ford both stopped listening.
Snell, back in the day, Snell, I made an intro for the KMS rundown.
You did.
It's great. It's the Viva La Bam intro.
Yes, it's an epic. I remember. I still have it saved somewhere. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
what about the Fawn? Did you guys like the Fawns tournament? We got it live. Actually, it was funny. The Fawns tournament, I was asking Menners to do the finals live, and he said if anything goes wrong, I have to resign as VP of the network immediately, effective immediately. So, but I agreed. Like that's the kind of leadership he has. He's serious. He's even to his VP 781. Welcome to Menners.
You were like
live,
a dog. You are good with this, BA. Like the second I say a number now, you're good.
But you fucked it up because the caller goes after I say Menners live.
He's like a kid with autism.
Thanks, John. But wait, you fucked it up, eh?
But it's true. Caller. Welcome to Menners live, hosted by BA.
Hey, Freddie Lynn here.
Hey,
Freddie. BA, your hair's fire.
Hair's fire. Thank you, Freddie. Hair.
That's good.
Thank you.
Pat Ford, you look good. You just need a higher angle on your computer. You need to put the computer on a stack of books.
I appreciate you saying that. I've actually tried it on like work Zoom calls. It doesn't matter. I wear all my fat in my face. It's just a really bad situation.
All right, buddy.
But I appreciate the support.
He owns it.
Aren't you married and you have a kid?
Married kid. Yeah, I just got like.
You're allowed to wear your fat in your face, buddy.
Oh, I got no one to impress anymore.
What are these people looking for here? I mean, that just shows comfort and fucking reliability to me, pal. You look comfy.
Thank you.
Freddie, what do you got to say?
Yeah, what's up, Freddie?
Well, the point of the call is there was too much hate this week from the Minifans. Kirk was right. Too much bitching. Listen, the fact that he did that free throw stream was free content for 14 hours. If you didn't watch it, that's fine. But that was content, and like that kind of fucked him up for the week. So the shows, they were they broke even. No big deal. The
I
shows
think
weren't the best,
this week was a
but-
net positive for sure.
Yeah,
The
big time.
content
I know, when
outside
you
the
had the
show
free-
was good. The content outside the show was great. That was my main point. Like the content outside the show was the highlight of the week. But what are you saying? What are you saying, Freddie?
I like where he's going.
No, I agree. The shows were a bonus this week. They weren't the best shows of all time, but you have to take it in the full context of Kirk's week, where he got more exposure from the free throw thing than just doing a normal week of shows.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good
That's a
point.
great point, Freddie.
As a
Good
business
point.
move, it was a better move. A business move, it's better.
Yeah. Anything
And-
else,
and
Freddie?
Throw the show.
Freddie, can I ask you? So if
Oh.
it had been as opposed to if this had been the third week in a row without calls in the Watertown studio 4 days, what would they have talked about?
More producer stuff, because
Right.
it's harder to do producer stuff when they're in a different location.
I think
I
it's
think-
weird that they record, like Justin and Coleman are the ones streaming a show from Chicago. Just shows they don't know what they're doing. Like, why are you doing that to begin? They're in Barstool, Chicago, that has the best streaming software, probably like around that city, other than So it's like, why are you then sending it to Boston and then Boston to the world? It doesn't make any sense to me.
No, they should say, "Hey, Justin, hey, Coleman, you can chime in, but give Hank or give TJ the reins and say, make this work because we're here, and make it good.
Or
Forget Watertown for the week."
But
Like
I
Justin drives
think
to Delaware
I think,
for a subway,
wait a
but
second.
doesn't drive to Chicago to help Kirk this.
I
don't
think during the
understand that.
times Kirk was recording, it was like at the same time as TJ was busy with healthy.
Yeah, that's
with mostly
understandable.
sports.
I'm sure
Because
they had
TJ would have
somebody.
had that running if it was in TJ's areas of control. It'd be running smooth.
It's like
I think
Jeff D. Lowe
D-
is
I think Jeff
producing.
D. Lowe is
True,
to
but you
blame
could still-
about the
yeah.
about the quality too a little bit.
It's because it's being sent to Boston.
Like why can't it be all done from there? Like give Jeff D. Lowe the logins, for all the shit. Like I don't get why it can't why it can't be like all cast from there. Go ahead, Freddie.
Yeah, you're right, and John, you're right. But the second producer on the mid show could make it sound better than they did coming through Watertown. Just let it run
Hold
through
on,
Chicago
Anonymous.
while he's there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I think
he
Jeff
should
D. Lowe's
either
to
have
blame.
a producer with him every time he leaves, because look what's happened both times in a row. It's like, this is what happens. I don't know why they don't go with him when Justin could drive to Delaware for no reason. but
Give
go to
Jeff D.
Chicago.
Lowe
Or Jeff D.
logins
Lowe
so
the
he could
logins.
log in so he could do the Rumble, YouTube, whatever from
Yeah.
Chicago that day.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science, I don't think.
Yeah.
But
Freddie, you
do
got
have
anything
another-
else? We
do you
got
have
another
another
caller
caller?
on.
Freddie.
No, he's gone.
right.
Anonymous.
Anonymous, welcome to Manners
And then
Live.
this is the
hosted by
last one.
BA.
We'll end it.
Yeah, I have something to follow up with Jeff D. Lowe. Does anyone else think he just stinks on the show? Like he's really bad.
I love Jeff D. Lowe, though.
Nope.
Yeah, I think he's good.
You don't find
Anyone
him
that's a
boring
friend,
and
like you can tell they kind
uninteresting
of.
and-
Oh god.
He's not
Anyone
the
that's
he's
a
not
friend
the
of the
like
show.
he's not on a Patrick Ford Drip Lord level, he's above Patrick Ford.
Fair.
At least Patrick Ford can golf and have some talent. Jeff D. Lowe just jerks off
Okay.
watching TV all day.
Hey.
Pretty sad.
I mean,
I like this
Jeff
guy.
D. Lowe is trying to get some weight in his face. So hey, he's at least trying to be like you, Pat Ford.
Well,
Okay. All right.
There you go. There's a compliment.
A little bit of a backhander, but I'll take it.
Troll King
Win
Sneak
for it.
said the caller's right. Jeff D. Lowe's the worst. I think Jeff D.
Yeah,
Lowe
I
is
mean,
most to
he's
blame
really
this
bad.
week.
He's not a producer, though.
I-
But
understand
he
that's probably
should,
pretty
he's
easy,
a
but-
producer for the
Jeff D. Lowe-
week. He's the head producer for the week. It's Jeff D.
I guess
Lowe's
you're right
fault.
there.
He also calms Kirk down. He's a security blanket in a way.
Stay
Caller,
I think-
go up. Sorry,
Go ahead, caller.
Sorry, caller.
Does Jeff D. Lowe also run the Twitter account? Because for the first time in 5 years, I had to unfollow it this week. It's so insufferable.
People are
Bad.
bodying the show tonight.
That's what I'm
So-
saying.
so
People are
maybe-
wrong.
Literally,
maybe the
who's
fact-
on this Twitter account? It's horrible.
I don't know.
So maybe the fact that I'm blocked is actually a blessing.
Don't worry about it, Danny. You're all right.
Danny,
You'll get out of it.
Danny making it.
You'll get out of it, buddy. You'll get out of this one.
Oh, come on. I made it a minute 38.
I miss you, Danny. Anonymous, you have anything else?
Yeah, John, how many cigarettes do you go through in a week?
Probably pack a day.
That's a lie. Goodbye.
Jeez.
All right, told you.
He's right. He's right.
He's got box to eat. How can I say?
He's right. Let's end it there. Good calls tonight.
Good calls.
People are angry out there, man.
I do feel an overall shift in the oh, perfect.
Handful of psychopaths. That's it.
Jeez, I had cancer.
Boys, thank you, Joe. Thank you, the Axe. Thank you, everyone. Friends.
Tied to a post right now.
The Axe is perfect, playing us out. We'll see you next week. Everyone.
Thank you.
Another tough day at work today. Stephen Kirk, think I suck. Throw back a few wobbly pops, feeling down on my luck. And the interns ruin every show, but it's still